the legendary Power Ranger Tommy Oliver. He is the most outstanding Ranger of all time who has participated for more years as a Ranger than anyone else. If we talk about legends of superheroes in any franchise, Tommy is one of the first in that list, and today I'm going to give you a review of his entire history. But first, as Tommy would say,
"It's Morphin time! It's Morphin time! Yeah!"
Let's start with what many already know, and that is the beginning of the Green Ranger. Rita Repulsa, in the middle of the war with the Power Rangers, decides to use her power coin that she had obtained at the same time that Zordon obtained the other 5 power coins that make up the Power Rangers. With this 6th coin, Rita creates the Green Power Ranger, and without realizing it, she created the legendary Ranger, the one that was going to defeat evil for many years and the one that in a parallel universe was going to eliminate her and dominate the world. Tommy Oliver starts out as the Green Ranger, who at first was the enemy of the Power Rangers thanks to Rita's spell, until Jason the Red Ranger defeats him and destroys the spell. In this universe, Tommy decides to join the Power Rangers to fight against Rita, but in a parallel universe Tommy decides to remain attached to Rita despite no longer being under her spell. You can find this story on the channel so you can meet this other Tommy Oliver. In the universe we know Tommy Oliver continued to be the Green Ranger by controlling the Dragon Zord with the Dragon Dagger and defeating Rita in every encounter until his power faded. Then the Power Rangers give him their power so he can go back to being the Green Ranger, and this worked for a while, but this power wouldn't last too long either. Because of this, Tommy was away for a long time until one day Zordon called the Rangers to the command center and introduced them to the new White Ranger, who he named as the new leader of the Power Rangers. This Ranger comes from the white light of good, and therefore darkness and evil cannot corrupt him. This new Ranger has been given the most powerful weapon of all time, a sword called Saba, which had a life of its own, and you can see its history in our channel. Besides that, the White Ranger together with Saba controls the White Tiger Zord, which can transform into warrior mode. This White Ranger also appeared in the first Power Rangers movie in 1995, being the leader of the group and leading them to defeat Ivan Ooze to save the world. Later, with the destruction of the Thunderzords, the Rangers set out on a journey through the Desert of Despair in search of the creator of the power coins, Ninja. With his help, they managed to transform themselves into the Ninja Power Rangers, who get their power from their life force and not from an external source. From this moment on, Tommy becomes the White Ninja Ranger controlling the White Falcon. After Lord Zed turned the Rangers into children and Tommy as a child, he managed to get the Zeo crystals and become an adult again. Golder and Rito Revolto exploited the Zordon Command Center to steal the Zeo crystal, but they did not succeed. This powerful crystal comes from a planet that is in the void because the Morphin Masters destined that universe to perdition because an enemy of theirs used that same crystal, and due to the power it had, the Morphin Masters decided that it was very dangerous. With these crystals, Tommy and the other Rangers became the Zeo Rangers, being Tommy the Red Ranger controlling the Zeo Zord 5 and having a special Zord called the Red Battle Zord. After many battles, the Rangers managed to defeat the Empire of the Machines. But then came an evil pirate who came with the same plans to destroy the Power Rangers, called Divatox. With the arrival of this villain, they had to look for a new power, and that is when the Turbo Power Rangers emerged and Tommy started to be the Red Ranger leading the team again. Divatox tried everything to destroy the Rangers and destroy Tommy, but the Rangers always achieved victory. After many years as a Ranger and a great leader, Tommy had to give up his powers as Turbo Ranger, and he ended up choosing TJ, who would become the new Red Ranger. After giving up his power, Tommy went to college to study paleontology, which is the natural science that studies and interprets the past of life on Earth through fossils. Tommy had this fascination with studying fossils and dinosaurs because of his time on the mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which controlled Zords from the prehistoric era. While researching fossils, Tommy found the red, blue and yellow Dino gems, which were remnants of the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs 65 million years ago. After learning of the power the gems contained, Tommy knew they would be misused if they fell into the wrong hands, so he hid them. While in college he met Haley, who helped him create the Dino Morphers to create the Dino Thunder Power Rangers. 3 young men found these morphers and became the new Rangers, and later discovered Tommy's past as a Ranger who recruited them to become the Dino Thunder Power Rangers. Tommy obtained another Dino gem and became the Black Ranger with the power of invisibility. Due to various situations, Tommy remained with the transformation for a while until an experiment returned Tommy to his natural state, but breaks his Dino gem in the process. Due to this experiment, Tommy falls into a coma, and in his state, he begins to dream that he has a battle with his 3 former transformations. When he woke up from the coma, his Dino gem was repaired, and now he would have Super Dino mode. In the end, Tommy and the other Rangers had to destroy the Zords and the Dino gems to be able to finish with the villain, and Tommy continued his life as a professor at the university. Although this is the basic story of Tommy, this legendary Ranger has been mentioned a number of times throughout the story, as well as returning to help in big battles such as the Battle of all the Red Rangers and also in the legendary battle. In addition to this, outside of the franchise, Tommy has also participated in small fan-made battles. In the video games, Tommy has always been one of the main characters, and in the comics, we have seen his alternate history as we mentioned at the beginning of this video. For this and much more, Tommy will always be the greatest Ranger that has ever existed in the history of this universe and any parallel universe. When we all started watching Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, we fell in love with the Pink Ranger, and Kimberly Hart stole our hearts with her sweetness and beauty. Beyond that sweet face is a warrior who has demonstrated the great power of a true Ranger. Although her role as the Pink Power Ranger may have seemed very short, like Jason and Zack, Kimberly left the series after 3 seasons. She is the longest-running female Power Ranger as the Pink Ranger and number 4 overall. Her story is not only seen in the TV series, but we can also see her in the comics, in which we have learned more about her life and even a new transformation. When Zordon called the 5 youngsters and chose them as Power Rangers, the story of Kimberly, a girl dedicated to gymnastics to whom Zordon gives the pterodactyl power coin, which was the only flying Zord at the time, began. Her weapon of attack was the power bow, which worked for close combat and long distance. The Pink Ranger suit was distinguished from the other Ranger suits as it was the only suit with a skirt. Although at first, Kimberly is a good-hearted character, she comes across as the typical sweet, but a bit naive girl. Then, after switching bodies with Billy, that helped her create more awareness and become a little more astute and understanding of other people's problems, helping her to see life from another point of view. In addition to gymnastics, Kimberly had also taken dance classes and had been seen with other skills such as designing flower arrangements, singing, and playing the guitar. Her gymnastic skills have helped her in many battles as she uses these skills to better jump and attack her opponents. When Tommy Oliver arrives at Angel Grove School, Kimberly is attracted to him, but the moment Rita casts a spell on Tommy, he begins to behave hostilely towards her. After breaking the spell, Tommy apologizes and they begin a relationship. This relationship grows stronger when Tommy loses his Green Ranger powers and Kimberly still supports him. Unfortunately, when Tommy loses his powers for the second time, he leaves Angel Grove and the relationship also ended. Then Tommy returns as the White Ranger, and they started their relationship again. This relationship has been the most famous of the entire franchise, as in the first Power Rangers movie from 1995. They are also seen together. Despite this, in the Power Rangers Turbo movie, Kimberly appears with Jason the Red Power Ranger and many thought they were together. Plus, when Divatox put a spell on them both, Kimberly told Tommy that she was with Jason. This was said under the spell as Divatox knew this would fill Tommy with jealousy and cloud his judgment. Still, many fans have commented that Jason and Kimberly also had a relationship because of what was seen in this movie and because in Power Rangers Zeo Kimberly sent a breakup letter to Tommy saying she had found someone else. Kimberly's departure from the Power Rangers left a huge void among the fans. As we said at the beginning, Kimberly is a great gymnast and a coach, which sought her to participate in the Pan Global Games held in Florida, USA. Then Kimberly chooses Catherine to replace her, who had already been under the spell of Rita and Lord Zed and had taken Kimberly's coin of power, besides having also had feelings for Tommy. Despite this, when the spell was broken, Kimberly saw something special in Catherine and chose her to be her replacement. Although nothing more is known about Kimberly in the TV series, the Boom Studio comics talk more about her life and what happened after she gave her power to Catherine. After some time, when the Rangers were out of the Earth, Zordon returns to activate the powers of the Pink Ranger that were still latent in her to give a last battle on Earth. Kimberly calls her friends Zack and Trini, who were still on Earth, to join her as the Black and Yellow Rangers. In addition, she recruited two brothers to be the Red and Blue Rangers, leaving Kimberly as the leader of the group, being the first female leader of the Power Rangers. This comic shows the events that led Kimberly to write Tommy the letter seen in Power Rangers Zeo and references that the other guy she had a relationship with was Jason. In the multiverse, there is another Kimberly who lived a different story because in that universe, Tommy Oliver, despite breaking Rita's spell, still stays with her to conquer the Earth and then eliminate her and become Lord Draken. If you want to see the full story of Lord Draken, you can search for it on this channel at the end of this video. Lord Draken not only eliminated Rita, but also eliminated several Power Rangers, and because of this Kimberly wanted to attack Lord Draken as revenge, but Draken caught her and enchanted her to be part of his team and turned her into his Ranger Slayer. With this transformation, Kimberly was evil and served faithfully to Lord Draken, in addition to a spectacular costume change which has become very famous among Power Ranger fans. After some events where Kimberly tried to save Lord Draken when he went to the main universe, which is the one we all know, she meets her other self, the Kimberly of this universe, and they fight until the spell she had on Lord Draken is broken. Regretting everything she did, she begins to help the Rangers of this universe in order to defeat Draken. After winning the battle against Lord Draken, Kimberly Ranger Slayer returns to her universe, which was in a deep void, and becomes the leader of a new team of Power Rangers to start a new world. Zachary Taylor, or better known as Zack, is the first Black Ranger of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and we are not talking about the color of his skin, but the color of his costume. Personally, this is my favorite Ranger of all time, so for me it is an honor to introduce you to his story. Zack was the second in command in the Mighty Morphin after Jason the Red Ranger, all this, until Tommy Oliver arrived as the White Ranger, which Zordon put as leader, and Jason became the second in command. Zack's animal is the Mastodon, and his weapon is a very powerful axe that becomes a type of energy cannon, which is the beginning of the combination of all the Rangers' weapons to form the Power Blaster. In the comics, Zack has also been the Pink Ranger, the Green Ranger, and the Black Omega Ranger. Speaking of his personal life, Zack was a young man with some problems at home, but was still quiet and joking. Although he was very hesitant to have friends at first, he met Jason and the other Rangers at Angel Grove and gradually developed more. He is a young man who likes holidays like Halloween, although he is afraid of spiders and snakes. Zack likes to dance a lot, and what he did was to combine dancing with martial arts and invented a fighting style called hip-hop Kido, which he also teaches to others. He spends most of his time practicing martial arts with Jason and Tommy, as well as teaching dance to other students. When the war between Rita and Zordon started again after Rita escaped from her confinement, Zordon chose 5 young men to be the Power Rangers, and one of those was Zack, who at first was not sure if he could be a Ranger because he was an insecure young man at the beginning of his life due to the problems he had at home. Then he decided to commit to being a Ranger and accepted the mission to save the planet. With this he becomes the Black Ranger of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers with the Mastodon Power Coin, which controls the Mastodon Dinozord. In the comics, during a mission, Zack controls the Megazord and they defeat Rita's monster while Jason helps from the ground. At the end of the battle, everyone celebrates Jason's performance, but not Zack's, and therefore he feels a bit of jealousy within himself. Rita takes advantage of this jealousy and chooses him to be the first Green Ranger, since at this point Tommy had not yet appeared. When Rita makes the offer to Zack, he was tempted, but he rejected Rita and tried to steal the Green Ranger's power coin, but failed. Then Zack confessed everything to Zordon, and this story stayed between them and no other Ranger knew about it. Because of this whole event, when Tommy joined the team as the Green Ranger, Zack questioned Tommy's loyalty many times and if Rita could still control him. This is why, At first, they have several confrontations, but then they begin to trust each other little by little. Later, when Lord Zed arrives and destroys the Zords, Zordon gave the Rangers the new Thunderzords and Zack had control of the Lion Thunderzord. Zack's last mission with the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was to find the Light Sword, which is used to transfer powers from one Ranger to another when their powers come from one of the 5 power coins. The 6th coin has no connection to this sword. This mission was because Zack, Jason and Trini would travel to Switzerland and had to transfer their powers to other young people, and Zack managed to transfer his powers to Adam, who would become the new Black Ranger and would be a very important and beloved character in the saga. Despite Zack having passed his powers to Adam, Zack has appeared as a Black Ranger in several seasons where fights have been given along with the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, as was the famous legendary battle, or the battle in which Jason summons his team to defeat Golder Maximus. Trini Quan, the Yellow Power Ranger in Mighty Morphin, is one of the most remembered characters in the history of the franchise, not only for her emotional strength and her big heart for wanting to help others, but also for the unfortunate event of the tragic death of the actress who played this character, Thuy Trang. Although many think she was a Japanese or Chinese actress, she was Vietnamese American. She was born in 1973 and died in a car accident in 2001 at the age of 27. Trang was the last Asian actress to play a Yellow Ranger, since Asian people are derogatorily called yellow, and casting an Asian to play the Yellow Ranger offended many people. Speaking of the character, Trini was a quiet person, eager to help others and very strong emotionally. She was the 16-year-old daughter of a Taiwanese doctor and a Korean woman, who lived in 8 military bases for the past 15 years due to her father's work. Although she wasn't Chinese, nor Japanese, she still practiced many customs of these countries. When Zordon decided to choose Trini as a Power Ranger, he transported her to the command center along with her other friends. Some did not decide to believe in what was happening, but Trini decided to believe in Zordon and stayed at the command center to accept the challenge of being a Power Ranger. Quickly after agreeing to be a Ranger, Zordon transports her back to Angel Grove, where she had her first battle with Rita's warriors. At first it was difficult for her, but then she activated her morphosis and became the first Yellow Ranger of the entire franchise. With her morph now complete, she was able to defeat the enemies and master her battle mode well. Although Trini was not as gifted in intelligence as Billy was, we know that she was very intelligent. Because of this, Trini did things like changing the language of Alpha 5 to a language more up to date to that year. Despite being a brave young woman, Trini was afraid of heights, which led her to have many challenges. Rita took advantage of any weakness she could use against her. She was also challenged by her lack of self-confidence, which was due to Rita's spells, but Trini overcame it time and time again. One of the biggest challenges she had was when Rita took all of the parents, including Trini's parents, and this devastated her. Rita gave them a choice between their parents or the power coins, and Trini chose to give up her power coin. At the end of it all, they managed to get the parents back and also the power coins to continue fighting against Rita. Although this does not appear in the TV show, In the comics we are told that Trini was in love from the beginning with Jason and they managed to kiss when their powers were exchanged, and she was the Red Ranger. After this, Trini and Jason thought it would be a bad idea to be together since that could be a weakness that their enemies would use to attack them. Trini was a very attached person to her friends. She supported them in every event they had and was always there for them. She was very close to Kimberly as they were the only two female rangers on the team and both worked hard to help clean up the environment. She was also close friends with Billy as they both had their great intelligence in common, and Trini would help Billy translate all the technical words in the speeches he gave about his inventions, and she would explain it in simpler words. In addition, she also helped him study for his exams and helped him with his projects. When Trini made her transfer of power to Aisha, the explanation that she, Jason and Zack gave was that they were going to a World Peace Summit in Switzerland, but in reality, they were going to form a new group of rangers guided by the Blue Emissary, who was a representative of the Morphin Masters. If you want to know more about the Morphin Masters, you can search for this video in our channel. The Blue Emissary had asked Jason to help him repair all the damage that had happened in the grid due to the event with Lord Draken. The mission was to find people who had suffered changes and help them understand what was happening to them and guide them on the right path. When Jason heard about this mission, he wanted to do it alone or find a team other than his current Mighty Morphin team, as he didn't want to involve them because he knew this mission was going to be hard. Still, at one point Jason was in the command center talking to the Blue Emissary, and Trini and Zack walked in and saw them. Eventually, due to Trini's loyalty to her friends, she wanted to get involved with the new team, and they both told Jason that they would not leave him alone in this new mission. The three of them quickly took off into space to other planets in search of people who needed help. In one of the planets, they met Kia, an alien woman who had some great powers, but she didn't understand what was happening to her. The people of her village wanted to burn her as they thought she was a witch, but Jason, Trini, and Zack arrived to save her. Still, Kia gets desperate and creates an explosion with her powers and then hides. While Jason and Zack try to save people from the explosion, Trini was the only one who could convince Kia that they were there to help her and invited her to go with them in the ship. After having been through several worlds battling, they realize how great Kia's power is and invite her to join the new team they were forming. This new team was taken to a place deep in space by the Blue Emissary, who presented them with the gauntlets of the first Rangers, which had powers that came from wind, earth, water, and fire. Trini along with the others took their gauntlets and became the Omega Rangers, Trini being the yellow Omega Ranger with the power of Earth. Later, Jason would lose his connection to the Morphin grid and Trini would take the lead as the red Omega Ranger. William Billy Cranston, or better known as the Blue Ranger in Mighty Morphin Power Ranger, is one of the most beloved characters in the entire saga and the entire franchise. This character clearly represents all those people who are intelligent and studious, but a bit withdrawn and unsociable. The evolution that this character had was one of the greatest in the whole saga, and the change that he gave when he transformed with the morph was greater than that of any ranger, since when he was not in the morph, he was a person who was not very good at fighting, besides wanting to seek to resolve conflicts in a more intelligent way without having to reach violence. Although 30 years have passed since his first appearances, the fans still remember him in a very special way, since in every event that this character has appeared, the fans acclaim him. Billy is so smart that he helped Alpha repair many things in the command center, a more advanced technology, and yet Billy could still work with it. In addition, he also created the communicators for all the Power Rangers of his season and helped create technologies that they would later use. When Zordon chose him to be the Blue Ranger, he gave him the Triceratop coin, which controlled Triceratop Dinozord. The helmet of his suit has been one of the most emblematic of the series, in addition to his weapon, which is a power spear that can be used together as a single spear or split into two parts. This spear has at the end of each side 3 points like a small trident, and when attached to the power blaster also launches energy beams. At first Billy was very shy and avoided trouble, so he was bullied a lot, and Trini the Yellow Ranger defended him all the time. Then Jason taught him to fight and defend himself, and little by little he became a stronger and less shy character. Even so, since he was a child, he had a phobia of fish, and Rita took advantage of this and created a monster in the shape of a fish. That monster had hurt the other Rangers except Billy, and in addition to his phobia of fish, Rita had put a spell on him to exaggerate his fear even more. So that day Billy had to overcome Rita's spell and overcome his fear of fish and defeat the monster to save the other Rangers. Each Ranger had his special ability, and Billy's was to invent things, and one of his most important inventions was the Rad Bug, which was a car that could go from 0 to 3,000 miles per hour in just 3 seconds. This car allowed the Rangers to transport themselves to the command center when the communicators were damaged. After many battles with Rita and Lord Zed, and having passed from the Thunderzords, Billy along with the other Rangers go in search of Ninja for the new power. Ninja turned them into the Ninja Rangers, and Billy received the Ninja Zord Wolf. This Zord has been one of the most iconic of the whole franchise. After a while and many battles, Lord Zed, Rita and Golder managed to steal the ninja coins and destroyed them. With the coins destroyed, Billy decided to retire as a ranger and dedicate himself to only serve as an advisor. In the time of the Zeo Rangers, Billy helped them on several occasions with different technologies, and although it was thought that he was the Golden Ranger, he confessed that it was not really him. Despite this, the other Rangers wanted him to be the replacement for Trey, the original Golden Ranger, but Billy had to give up that role to Jason, since due to the explosion of the command center, he had negative proton energy, and this prevented him from using the transformation. After this, Billy went to Aquitar to stop his aging and fell in love with a woman from that planet. Billy has also been seen in other episodes that have featured the entire Mighty Morphin team, such as the legendary battle and when Jason gathered his team to defeat Golder Maximus. Now we have his appearance in the 30th anniversary of the franchise. Most kids, even adults, almost always, their favorite Ranger is the Red Ranger. Not just any Red Ranger, but Jason, the Red Ranger from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. In several rides, this Ranger has always come out as the #1 in the entire history of the franchise, and as stated in the first Power Morph icon, Jason still holds this title. Jason is the leader of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and is the Ranger who has defeated the most villains by himself. He is also the only one who defeated Tommy Oliver in a fight. Before becoming a ranger, he was dedicated to martial arts in Angel Grove until Zordon selected him along with his 4 closest friends to be a Power Ranger, but not just any ranger, the leader of the group and the most powerful. So, why did Zordon choose him as the leader? When Zordon and Alpha 5 make the call to the 5 young men and tell them about the power, Jason is the only one who initially believes it, and that is why Zordon gives him the power coin of the Tyrannosaurus Rex and the Dinosaur. After obtaining this power, they begin their battles with Rita, who had sent Golder to destroy the Earth until the Power Rangers, led by Jason, defeated the monster. Although, at first glance, Jason seems like a typical athlete who is only interested in sports, inside, he is a kind person who likes to help others, and that is why he protects Billy and also teaches him martial arts so he can defend himself and builds his confidence. In addition to his martial arts skills, Jason does weightlifting and is certified as a scuba diving instructor. After many battles against Rita, one day a new student arrives to the school, Tommy Oliver, who began to be the only one who could be a competition for Jason in martial arts. This is why Rita bewitches him and turns him into the Green Ranger to defeat the Power Rangers. Rita captures Jason and locks him in the dark dimension after stealing his morpher, plus he had to fight Golder to get it back. Rita then sends the Green Ranger to destroy Jason, but Alpha 5, Trini and Billy manage to get Jason back before Tommy could harm him. Later, Jason confronts Tommy on Earth and finally defeats him in combat when he throws his energized power sword at the Green Ranger, disarms him, and then uses his blade blaster to destroy the Sword of Darkness that Rita had given Tommy. That was the sword that kept Rita's spell on Tommy. Now without the sword, Jason then invites Tommy to join the Power Rangers and use his powers against Rita. Later, Rita makes a green candle with special wax that had been enchanted with Tommy's touch when he was evil. Once lit, the candle continues to burn until it goes out, and when it goes out, so do Tommy's powers. When Tommy is near the candle, it accelerates the melting process. Golder captures Tommy and places him near it. However, he eventually escapes and Jason stays behind to retrieve the candle. Jason does well in his fight with Golder, but is called into battle with Rita's monster Cyclops to save Angel Grove. After the failed destruction of the green candle, Tommy entrusts Jason with his power coin to prevent it from falling back into Rita's hands, giving him access to the Green Ranger's powers, including the Dragon Shield and Dragon Dagger, which also allows him to summon the Dragon Zord to aid the Rangers, even while Jason controls the Megazord, making it twice as powerful. One day, Golder kidnaps all the parents of the students at Angel Grove School and tells Jason that if he wants to get the parents back, he must hand over all the power coins. So, Jason very cleverly delivers the 5 power coins, but he never gave him the Dragonzord coin. Thanks to this, Tommy recovers his power and then recovers the power coins of the other Rangers to also help the team to recover the parents of Angel Grove. This shows the great leadership that Jason has. When Lord Zed arrives to the moon and banishes Rita, as we talked about in the video of the whole history of Lord Zed, he creates some patrollers with his brand that are stronger and more powerful and sends them to the Earth to destroy the Rangers. In addition to this, Lord Zed destroys the Zords, including Jason's Dinozord. However, then appears the new Zords called the Thunder Zords, in which was Jason's new Zord, the Red Dragon Thunder Zord, which transformed into a humanoid form and could fight against any villain by itself, separated from the fusion of the Megazord. Unfortunately, Tommy loses his Green Ranger powers again, and Jason feels great guilt for that. Then, Lord Zed takes advantage of this and creates some candles for the other Rangers and steals their power too. But Jason, with the help of Zordon, manages to defeat and save his friends. After these events, Zordon gives Tommy the power of the White Ranger and names him the new leader of the group. Jason accepts this and becomes the second in command. Tommy was very confident in Jason's experience as a leader and was always looking out for him. Some time later, Jason, Trini, and Zack had to go to Suiza, and because of this they had to leave the team. Then, Zordon chose their successors, choosing Rocky as the new Red Ranger. It is believed that because Rocky had big shoes to fill, as Jason was the #1 favorite Power Ranger of all time, Rocky became the least liked Power Ranger of the entire saga, even after appearing in the Best Power Rangers movie in 1995. In Power Ranger Zeo, there is the Gold Ranger or the Golden Ranger, which was represented by a being who was prince of the planet Trifonia called Trey, who was injured and needed someone to replace him as Gold Ranger. Then, this power was given to Jason, who returned to be the second in command of the team. On one occasion when Tommy was kidnapped, Jason had to be the leader. In addition to this, it is seen throughout the series that Tommy relied heavily on Jason's advice for leadership decisions. At the end of Zeo, Jason returns the Gold Ranger powers to Trey, their original bearer, due to the fact that the powers of this ranger were not meant for humans. Jason was already feeling the weight and weariness of these powers. Despite this, Jason suffered no injury and was able to transfer the powers safely and then went on his way. Jason also had an appearance in the Power Ranger Turbo movie, which also appears with Kimberly. They fight alongside the Power Rangers against Divatox, villain of the Turbo Rangers. He also had another appearance in Power Rangers Wild Force when they made the special Forever Red, in which he appeared with his original Mighty Morphin power, along with other Red Rangers, among which was also Tommy as Red Ranger of the Turbo Rangers. In Power Rangers Super Megaforce, which was the best Power Rangers episode of all time, Rangers from many different eras united to defeat the army of villainous robots. Among all those Rangers were all the Mighty Morphins, including Jason. Unfortunately, the original actor playing Jason could not be in this episode, and this is why Jason always appears already transformed. This episode also features Tommy as the Green Ranger, and he joins Jason to make spectacular moves and gives all of us fans a taste of nostalgia that will make your skin crawl. This is why this episode becomes the best of all time. In 2020, Jason made his last appearance, so far. In Power Rangers Beast Morphers, Jason returns to fight against his old enemy Golder, who was now called Golder Maximus. Jason calls his old team to help him fight Golder, and all the Power Rangers unite to destroy him. In the comics, Jason has also had a lot of participation, including a Jason from an alternate reality in the multiverse who dies at the hands of Lord Draken, in which we talk about in the video of the history of this villain. If the Red Ranger is your favorite, give this video a like and subscribe to this channel for more Power Rangers content.